This is Tony Chimmel, and I'd like to introduce the hosts of the Game Marks podcast, George Feis and Johnny Clash.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast, where each and every week we take a deep dive into the good, the bad, and the awesome of all things wrestling video games. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And I am George Feis, and today we are playing Wwe 2K18. We also talk about the Switch 2 and midnight releases.
And please subscribe and leave a 5-star review for this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. Give us a follow. We are here. We are ready. We are playing WWE 2K18. George, how the hell are you doing?
I am doing good, my friend. Another episode, another game. But we can't start this episode without talking about last week. We played WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. How are you feeling about that one?
You know, one of my favorite WWE games almost ever. The nostalgia rush back with the creative story mode and all that. And it was just something, it just brings you back. It's one of those games. It's right up there with the Day of Reckonings and the WWE 19s and all that for me. So I really loved it. What about you?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It's one of those games, we even talked about it. I still can't remember definitively, but I do feel like this might have been the game that brought me back into wrestling. But it's definitely, for sure, one of the SmackDown vs. Raws. It's in that series. One of them kind of brought me back into wrestling. And yeah, very happy to go back and take a trip down memory lane to play that one. But
I have a feeling we're not going to be saying that about 2K18.
You never know.
We'll see.
You never know. We're going to talk about the gameplay that we did in a little bit, because I think my memory of that game, your experience playing that game, was a surprise, I think. But let's wrap up a couple of things before we get into this week's deep dive. We wrapped up our YouTube series GMP24. Mania is live on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/GameMarksPod. So be sure to go and check that out. We wrapped up the full season. And along with that, Mr. Johnny Clash has his own announcement. And what is that, sir?
All right. So we kind of agreed we're not going to be doing GMP25. We'll say it here first. It's not going to happen. It's a lot of work. A lot of time goes into it. Not only are we recording this podcast, we're going to have to then go and spend an extra hour or two to record that. So, sorry, but GMP 25 is not going to happen. However, I will be kind of taking it over on my own YouTube channel, Johnny Clash, at Johnny Clash, and it is called Clash Tube Wrestling. The first show, Monday Meltdown, will be out on May 5th. And it'll be at 7 p.m. every Monday from there on out. So youtube.com/@Johnny Clash. And you can find that, as well as my shitty Fortnite gameplay. So,
and of course, if you want more Johnny Clash, you can go and check out twitch.tv/JohnnyFNClash.
You know what's funny? If I go into chats and I follow, and the person's like, "Thank you for following Johnny F and Clash," a lot of people have been saying, "Thanks for following Johnny Fortnite Clash." I'm like, what the fuck?
I guess it is.
Yeah, but
it's kind of both.
That was the point, to have that innuendo in there, but to say the actual word out loud was kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard someone outright refer to the FN as Fortnite in someone's name, but yeah, I could see why. That is kind of like the other.
Yeah, like Maddie FN. No one's going, "Hello, Maddie Fortnite."
I'm sure some people have.
But just a funny little story here. As I'm looking at my reflection here, have you been watching The Last of Us season 2?
I haven't started yet. I think my plan is I'm going to let the season run and then watch it all.
That's fair, because it does suck waiting a week, but I didn't think they could blow it out of the water more than they already have, and oh my god. Like
I haven't heard spoilers. I have
did you
an
play the
idea.
game?
Oh yeah.
Then
I have.
the spoilers. It's literally frame by frame everything so far.
Okay, I would say I
There's
don't
some
know
added stuff, but
if they're doing the 1-to-1, if they're stretching things out, because apparently it's supposed to be like 3 or 4 seasons now.
I
But
have a feeling I know where it could end and pick up next season based on the second game. But Mike, right now it is visually incredible, and the story. Like even my wife, who doesn't really care that much about season 1, this last week's episode, she was glued to the TV.
All right,
so it was pretty awesome.
There you go.
I'm wearing a Last of Us shirt for people listening. That's what made me think of that. But yeah, are you ready to play Mr. Seth Rollins' game, WWE 2K18?
Let's do it. Let's put on those nostalgia goggles and take the deep dive. Guys, if you want your beard to be soft and smell great, then you need Mad Cat Beard Care. Their products are all natural and made to order with vitamins and natural oils to moisturize your skin and to help make your beard healthy and strong.
Our exclusive scent, Play It Forever, is a blood orange, black clove, and vanilla scented beard balm or beard oil that can make your beard have a rich but not overpowering scent. Plus, a portion from their sales go towards finding care for stray cats, covering their medical bills and finding them safe places and forever homes.
Use code GameMarks to save yourself 15% when you place an order over at madcatbeardcare.com. That's 15% off with code GameMarks. And remember, the Mad Cat makes a happy beard. WWE 2K18 released October 17th, 2017 for the PlayStation 4, Windows, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, which has a different release date of December 6th, 2017, developed by Yuke's, published by 2K, and other wrestling games in the year of 2017. You've got WWE Champions, WWE Tap Mania, WWE Mayhem, and Wrestling Revolution 3D.
Oof.
Now, WWE 2K18 is the first game in the series to be released exclusively on 8th generation hardware and the first to be released for the PC and consoles simultaneously. So, this game has no 360 or PS3 release.
So I want to know right now, is this still available for purchase?
No, they turned off a lot of the older WWE 2K titles on Steam. I want to say with 2K22.
Yeah, wow. I'm only seeing 24 and 25 right now. But I remember last year you could go all the way back, like pretty far.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what year they did it, but I remember we talked about it on the podcast. Like, oh, they removed however many years back they went of the PC releases, and they even tried to do some crossovers for them as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This was also the first of the series to be released on a Nintendo platform since WWE 13, and notably one of the worst Switch ports of a WWE game or Wii anything. Worst Nintendo port of a game. It didn't really work properly. It was glitchy. For some reason, it's still super expensive to buy, but I think this is why...
Collector's item still.
Yeah, like this is why we don't get these games everywhere anymore, and they're coming around now, and I guess with the Switch 2 being released, we'll see what happens. Some of that stuff looks pretty crazy, and it probably can handle the game now. I don't know. It's not something I would have had for a Switch, especially like the OLED version. I don't know. It's a cool concept to feel like you have that. Like having a Steam Deck now and playing 2K25 would be awesome. But you're playing the PC version.
Yeah. I think that there was a period of the crossovers or the ports to other consoles not necessarily living up to other maybe mainstay consoles where, with the, PlayStation 2 versions of games, the
Look at
PlayStation
the PSP
3
versions. They were all pretty bad.
Yeah, well, I was just say it's all those mixing and matchings of trying to get the game to function on different hardware with different limitations, and in some instances, you got some really unique scenarios. Unique scenarios such as mini games for some of the PSP ports. But then you also got some roster changes and exclusive content there as well, which is interesting. It's not. I don't know if people necessarily were going out to specifically buy those versions because of that, but it is a slight incentive to go there. And I'm sure that for certain people, that was like a big thing.
I guess I always feel like it's hard to classify the Switch as that because it is like a main console. It's not primarily a handheld console.
It's both. It's kind of like you're walking both lines.
Unless you're a kid, I don't feel like you would have one of these games on a handheld console as your primary game. It would be the extra that you're taking with you somewhere to play when you're away from your console.
Yeah, I think that like how we've talked in the past about you had your N64, your PlayStation, but then you also had your Game Boy that had King of the Ring or whatever on it. Like and you were just like, this isn't the same experience, but right. I'm enjoying it because it's a wrestling game and I have this little console that I can take with me.
Yeah, I still would love to just have that, not play Tap Mania all the time. But let's talk about the new features here. So among the other features that 2K were promoting, it's enhanced graphics, but also the return of Kurt Angle as a playable character, which is awesome. You get, I think, 2 versions of him. We'll go over that in a little bit. It's the first time since SmackDown Just Bring It that 8 wrestlers are allowed to be in a match at once. Before this, it was only 6. The Royal Rumble match has been retooled with new mechanics, new finishers, and new elimination sequences. I feel like lately we've been hearing that a lot. I think in SVR 10, there was also a revamp to the Royal Rumble, so that's cool that they're constantly redoing that. And of course, when we got 2K22, it was revamped once again.
Yep.
This was the series where the carry system was introduced, which we're still using today. It still works pretty much the same way today, too. Something that confused me for a long time, but I think I finally have a little bit of a handle on it. So, new commentary team from Monday Night Raw, you get Michael Cole, and SmackDown, you get Byron Saxton, and a dual branding commentator, Corey Graves. I wish I could say that this was something they improved on going forward, but we pretty much get the same voice lines today, which kind of sucks.
I think you get like additions for like new moves and stuff, but it's just the audio quality's gotten better. And I'm sure that there's, when they go into the booths to do these, they're doing hundreds and hundreds of reads. So there's crossover that they're still able to use, I bet.
Now, I'm wondering when AI takes over and they record a few lines and then it's just free game. They can make anything happen without them actually being in the booth. Kind of like James Earl Jones giving his voice to Star Wars forever. So he's forever Darth Vader. They can make that happen now.
I hadn't thought about that.
When is AI just going to be commentary? Michael Cole goes in, says the key lines, key words, but they take his voice and can make literally anything that happens be said in a video game.
I hadn't thought about that being a possibility, but that is a very real possibility.
It's very real. I don't know how cool it is, as long as, the voice actor's still getting paid the same amount or more, but that's a whole nother conversation. The crowd sound is also improved to feature authentic crowd chants for entrances and during a match. We definitely noticed that during our gameplay. The feature includes the ability to create your own custom matches and save them for future use in exhibition mode, universe,
which you still can do now.
Online, which you could still do now. And I remember this being like mind-blowing, but I also never knew like what match to create. Like, what do I want to do that's different, that's not on here already? But then once you get in there, you could be like, oh, okay, there's a million options here, and you could create whatever.
It's one of those situations where you really have to have a clear picture in your head of the exact match you want before you go in there. But like you said, there's so many different options, so many different styles that you can select to really kind of make your own special situation.
Like I can see that really big in universe mode, especially
Oh, yeah.
after like we just were talking about GMP 24. There were so many things that we had to customize, and I think it's perfect for that.
All right. I guess we'll have to wait and see what you ever put together for Clash Tube.
Ooh, we'll see. We'll see. My career now allows backstage roaming, which was last seen in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011's Road to WrestleMania mode, so that's finally coming back. Universe mode has been improved with new story system along with new cutscenes, power rankings, and a goal system. Now, your game modes here. Obviously, you have your play modes, which are your exhibitions. We'll get into the match types in a little bit. You could customize your player, which is under My Player, Universe, Creations, Community Creations, Online, My WWE, Options, and Store. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. Now, I mentioned during the playthrough, I didn't know if I ever played this game. And this was definitely a year I skipped. I didn't know for sure, but early in the podcast, me and you talked about how much I loved 19. You said you didn't get 19, or maybe you got it a little later because the loot crates in 2K18 turned you off.
Yeah.
That wasn't something I remembered. And you know what's crazy? We were only 2 years after this when we started the podcast. So like 2K20 was the game that came out that year, which was nuts. And what a year to start a gaming podcast when 2K skips 2 years of games.
That's true.
That was so silly. But yeah, I don't remember. And then once we got into like the menu and the character select screen, which I loved, I didn't remember that at all. So I think I could solidly say I went from either 16 or 17. I think I had the Brock Lesnar cover. So 17, yeah, straight to 19.
Yeah, this game I played a lot when it came out. It was just, to go through the My Player and the everything that goes along with that, and try to build out something in universe with your created wrestler, to have so many things to develop your player all locked behind these loot crates, loot boxes, loot system, whatever they refer to it as. It was such a vast change from what it had been, at least in my experience, in my memory, that I was just like, oh man, this is not how I remember this system being. But them WWE trying to keep up with the times, loot crates, loot boxes, that lottery system, however you want to refer to it, that was the thing that was popular. So they were just trying to keep it topical and up to date with everything else.
So this was the year I started playing Fortnite. So I think that may have something to do with why I didn't buy it, because that's where all my time went to. But I think with the loot crates and all that, they were really trying to be like the NHL, the Maddens, and all the EA games where they include that weird system of loot, but now it's turned into cards, and now it's turned into, I forget, Hockey Ultimate Team, like that one. Now it's turned into, what the hell's the one called in 2K now? My Faction.
The My Faction cards, yeah.
It's turned into that. So I think that's where it stems from, and that's where it goes. And it's just so hokey, and like you just don't, it adds an extra layer of annoyance to try to play the game the way you want to play it.
Yeah, and like I said, the loot crate in the sense of 2K18 only affects the My Player. It doesn't really affect any other outside, at least to my memory and my knowledge of that. It didn't affect any other part of the game. It just was the My Player. So if that's not something that you particularly invest a lot of time in or anything like that, then it's just a regular old WWE game that has the same play mechanics and experience that you remember from years past. All right. Well, how about we break down some of these match types here in WWE 2K18, because you have the standard fare of matches that you would come to expect. You've got your normal, your falls count anywhere, backstage brawl, extreme rules, ladder, table, TLC, Hell in a Cell, steel cage, last man standing, no holds barred, submission, Iron Man, Battle Royal, Elimination Chamber, which was revamped both with the new and old structure style. You have the 8-man tag match, which is new, the 8-man ladder match, which is new, an 8-man Battle Royal, a handicap match with 1 versus 2 and 1 versus 3. You have a 10-man Royal Rumble, a 20-man Royal Rumble, a 30-man Royal Rumble, and of course, the tournaments, which is a 1v1, a tag team tournament, and the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Ooh, so not much different than you're getting today, which is crazy. Of course, you're getting the war games and a few other additions. Now we have the ambulance and the casket match,
Yep.
but this was what you were getting for many, many years, and this didn't change for a while.
No, it's just standard fare, and it's a good spread of match types, and kind of getting a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah. But let's take a quick break here, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk about My Player, Universe Mode, and this roster here. All right, let's talk about My Player. This is something I wasn't familiar with, but I remembered it moving forward from 2K19. This is where you create your own superstar. You level them up through matches and storyline progression. You pick their fighting style, and you pretty much do your road to glory or your career through this hub. This is where you will take your character through the backstage hallways, and you run into different wrestlers, different managers, officials, and you could really do I don't want to say whatever you want, because it's not really whatever you want, but this is where you drive your own story. It's
less
similar.
of a linear progression than you've had, where it's just like you have a match, it goes to the next cutscene. You have a match, it goes to the next cutscene.
It's kind of like what we get now, which is a simplified version of this. I like the My Rise because you will be able to just choose between like the 3 or 4 people standing in front of you.
Yeah.
Not, well, let me check this locker room. Let me check this hallway. Let me see who's over here. Maybe I missed something important. Maybe this would have gotten me VC or something, and now I missed it. I like that it's just right in front of you. It's just so much easier.
Yeah. And they always used to have like those little Easter eggs when you were walking around. Like I remember there was like, you'd see posters for like old events and stuff like that. And it would be like, they have stuff like that in all of the games when there was any kind of backstage segments, but when it's there's a little bit of exploration. It kind of makes it like a little bit of an Easter egg hunt.
So I want to check, actually. I mentioned that they're actually using the real signs that go backstage now.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if they actually did that back then too. So I can't really find anything right now, but that would be cool to see. So this is actually what I'm remembering from YouTube. I just saw this, the 2K My Career Episode 1, A New Saga Begins. It's you going into NXT in the Performance Center talking to Matt Bloom. I remember watching this promo video that Dank Ops posted at the time. And I was like, this is so cool. I can't wait to play this game. And for some reason, I just didn't do it.
I wonder, I guess, like you said, Fortnite was at the time.
Madden, NHL, UFC. I was playing all that.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just didn't do it.
But then you said you came back for 19 with AJ.
I loved 19. Yeah, 19 was great. I still remember, like, you know how you visualize certain things? Like, I remember my PC set up in my old room, like where it was. And I had the PlayStation going into the monitor. And I remember sitting there playing like through the NXT storyline so vividly. Crazy. Just like I remember my old apartment sitting there with, what was the beef stick that, or whatever it was in 2K20.
Oh, Ribby?
Ribby, yeah. Playing with Ribby on the big TV. Yeah, like it's crazy how you remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's crazy how certain video game memories stick with you, but you get the memories of, like, it's not just your experience, it's the environment. I remember I was in this room playing with this, just like you said, like in this room with this setup, playing this game.
It's wild how you remember that. I will say this about the loot crates. I'm glad that they are purchased with VC and not with actual money. So that makes it a little better.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somewhere you can.
It does kind of, I don't know, the more I think about it now, I think I was frustrated because it was so different. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Like, it kind of does give you the feeling of you are a new wrestler. You are
my
it's I like that every episode now there's like a song break where you sing. It's great. it does kind of make you
My
feel
fire.
like you're starting as a new wrestler. Like you get to kind of evolve your moveset, and it's not like you can just go in and pick all the crazy moves. But I guess there's kind of like, there's an argument to be made from both sides here. Like, if you want that super realistic, the randomness, like, you don't necessarily get to pick the crazy, powerful, strong move set where you're doing, a 450 after, off the top rope. It's a springboard onto the outside. Everything's a 450. But at the same time, sometimes that's what you want. So I could see an argument made for both. But at the time, I was just like, why? Wrestling games shouldn't have loot crates. I shouldn't have to have all this stuff. But I do understand you can apply a logic and a reasoning to it.
So that's something what you were saying, how like you start from the Performance Center, NXT, and work up. We've seen that in a lot of games. A lot of games just send you in already as a wrestler, and that's fine too. I saw the new Madden trailer today, and it's like, start from college or high school and work your way up to the NFL. I'm like, it's the same thing every year. Like, that's not a selling point anymore. Do something different. Like, you do the combine, you do all the fun stuff, and now you're in the NFL, and then it's just a regular career mode leading up to it. Now, I get it. It's a real sport. It's not wrestling. You don't have storylines. I mean, given the draft today, at the time of recording, there is a storyline, and it's pretty funny with someone not being drafted. But with wrestling, that's different every time. Like, it doesn't have to be like you're in the Performance Center, then you make your way up, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, they've done a good job in the past of kind of moving the storylines around enough where there's a uniqueness. But they've done a really good job over the past couple of years of kind of making them unique in the sense of it's not like what you were saying. It's not always you start from point A, you go to point B, that leads you to point C. They've done a good job in the My Rise modes where there are unique scenarios where it's like, the one that was a couple of years ago where it's like your aunt was a really famous wrestler, or the Lock storyline.
The Lock. Oh my God.
Those are very those were different. It all kind of feels the same. Like, they've done some kind of version like that in the past, but there's always like a little twist or a little change, or like there's this element that's different. You're like, oh, kind of wasn't expecting it to go that way. And that's kind of cool and different. And I feel like they've been doing a lot of that more and more recently.
Yeah. Also included is Road to Glory mode, which you do through My Player as well, which is similar to the one in Supercard, where it's an online mode where you compete in events and you earn rewards, and you kind of just connect to your stats and boost them up. And of course, Universe mode is in here, which is your sandbox where you could pretty much act as the GM and book your own shows, manage your rivalries. You could either take control of a wrestler or make your own, or just do shows just for the hell of doing shows. Now, this roster, it's massive. I don't want to read it all. You don't want to read it all. Easily available on SmackDown Hotel if you want to go check it out. But scrolling through that character select screen, it was awesome. I brought up the question to you. Do you like when they used to be in-game renders, or do you like now where it's an actual picture of the wrestler themselves? I'm kind of a little biased towards having the in-game renders because that's what Day of Reckoning did, and like all the games I like did. But also, like in 2K25, you have Ava Moreno and all what's his name?
Cole Quinn.
Cole Quinn. Where they are renders because they're not real people, but then you go to like The Undertaker, he's real. It's like there's kind of like a disconnect in the roster page. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if they were all in game.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that either. I actually think I might agree with you on that. I think there is a certain level. I get the feeling, I get the understanding for both, where it's like you have these iconic wrestlers where maybe the game. I mean, that's a different problem in itself, but maybe in certain iterations of the characters, you're not necessarily capturing the likeness of the person as well as the render maybe would do. Like I say the word render, I mean like the actual photography of the real wrestler. It's a real picture of the Undertaker. but I understand why you might want that. But yeah, I think I personally prefer when it's the actual in-game graphics, because it kind of takes you on that whole journey. Like, it sets you up right from the get-go. Like, you're seeing the match graphics, you're seeing the renders of the wrestler in that style of the game that you're playing. It almost kind of feels like a throwback to the sprite iconography that they would use back in like the SNES and NES days. Like, you just would see the sprite, and then the sprite in most cases looks like the wrestler that you're going to play in the match.
This Legends roster is massive. We were saying this whole thing is a time warp of 2017 NXT, like crazy roster.
There is
205 Live.
There is a
Jimmy
lot.
Garvin's in here. He's only ever in 2K17 and 18. Those are his only games ever. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. The Von Erichs are in here.
Stings.
Larry Zbyszko. Like, what is this game? Yes, Michael Hayes. Albert. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The Legends roster is almost as big as the Raw and SmackDown roster combined.
So, like,
Wow.
Buddy Roberts is in here. I can't imagine he was in any other games. Yeah, same, 17 and 18. So for some reason, in this time period, they were just like, what? Like, Tatsumi Fujinami's in here.
It's Hall of Fame, I think.
Oh, back when they did the Hall of Fame. Everybody was in there. Wild. Now, let's talk about this cover here, because I like it. It's pretty cool. This is, 15, 16, 17. They started going with the same type of theme here. And this time it's Seth Rollins in his black and gold, mean mugging the camera with the same type of background we've seen for many years. We kind of went away from this, and now we get more artistic style backgrounds. But this was 2K at the time, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, the branding big and in the center. You know that it's a wrestling game right out of the gate, just because that WWE logo is large and prominent right from the beginning. And then when you flip over to the back, you got a bunch of screenshots of wrestlers, not
Sasha
match
Banks
shots, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, it's all like entrances and stuff.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, now this is what I actually wanted to check. It has everything in here, the one I bought. Like, does this supercard code work?
Oh.
Do we want to do a live check right now? Deluxe edition. Got Kurt Angle on there. Rob Van Dam. Use the code below for downloadable content. Well, I'm not going to turn my PS4 on right now, so maybe we'll try that another time. Dude, I miss getting a book with a game. All right, let's scan this supercard code. It felt weird buying a PlayStation 4 game and installing it and hearing that music again, that background, like, whatever. All right, I'm in supercard. It's logging me in.
Okay.
I haven't played this in a while, so I got to go through like the
on
end
the
user and all that stuff again.
On the paper itself, there's nothing that says like offer expires or code expires on the bottom. Let's see, that'll tell you right from the
start. It's making me do a tutorial though. That's not fun. So we could move on, and I could come back to this. Let's talk about the graphics here.
We touched upon this in the playthrough on our YouTube channel. It looks and feels exactly how you would expect a wrestling game on PlayStation 4 or Xbox to feel. I think the main difference that we said that we noticed maybe between current gen games and this generation is maybe the textures and the polygon counts are a little higher. Maybe the hair physics are different, but like lighting, the stages, the entrances, the lighting, it all still feels right on par. I think that this holds up pretty well. The crowd still looks great. Ring canvas and textures all look good. It's just, it's as good as it could be on the hardware.
That's what we say a lot during these. There's really nowhere you can go from what console you're on, what you're playing. Like, it's still a WWE game. Until we got 2K20, everything was on par. Everything was the same. I'm going to go out and say 2K20 was a blessing in disguise, because maybe they wouldn't have made the changes and had the games we have now and how good they are without that disaster happening.
You know, that's a very good way of looking at it. And
hindsight.
No, I think that you're right. It kind of was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I think this game 2K18 looks amazing, and at the time we were probably like, "Oh my god, how does it get better than this?" 2K19, kind of pretty much the same look and feel. It really felt like the NXT arena looked sick. It was cool to see all that once again. The high school gym, like all that. You're like, this is a really good looking game. How can we go up? We couldn't go up. We went down for some reason.
It's made for a long time. A lot of these games were just, you're getting the updated rosters, the updated entrances, the updated, the WrestleMania stages change. If NXT stages change, when they change Raw stages, like, you're getting all those current little upgrades or updates to make it feel a little bit more current. But as what happens with most wrestling games, by the time they release, major changes always happen, and then within a couple of months they are outdated just from a content or a stage or a design standpoint. Logos change, people's gimmicks change, and then got to go and download all the updates from the community creations to make it all feel a little bit more current.
Yeah. The HUD was small, out of the way, a little crowded, like we remember it to be. They used that one for a while. Now it's kind of, it's similar to what we have now. Nothing really changed there.
Yeah.
The pin mini game is the circle where you got to stop it in the green mark. Not my favorite, but that's what we get. There's not much to talk about here. I mean, if we're acting like this is our first time playing this game, I thought it came across pretty cool. I mean, it was my first time playing this game. I'm talking about like the series, because it is so similar to the previous and what came after.
Yeah.
But did you know? Did you know WWE 2K18 had the largest roster in WWE game history at the time, with over 170 playable characters, including legends, NXT stars, and more?
Did you know Road to Glory, a new online mode, lets you compete with your My Player in events synced with real-life WWE pay-per-views?
Did you know WWE 2K18 is on eBay from $7 to $12? Used, $15 sealed, and the Switch version is $50. Now, the Seen Enough version, which we're about to talk about, is $100. But if you get it complete with the plaque, you can get it for $150.
Damn.
So there's a few things to unpack here. First of all, Kurt Angle announced his DLC, and it seems like he announced it accidentally, because his tweet at the time said, "I do a lot of things prematurely, and tweeting is one of them. But it's true. I'm official pre-order bonus for 2K18." And yeah, he posted the cover. It seemed like he posted it and they were like, "Hey, you weren't supposed to do that yet."
Maybe he did it like a day early.
Yeah, but I guess it all worked out. Now, the Seen Enough version, I had the John Cena plaque somewhere. I think I sold it on eBay.
Oh.
But I remember I only bought it. Someone, I think in the Major Pod Facebook group, it was an impulse buy because it was there. It's only like $15 at the time, and it comes with the John Cena, like the ring mat and an autograph. It's like, why wouldn't I buy that?
Yeah, that's a good deal.
But you get, let's see what you get in this Seen Enough version. You get the unique cover, 15 years of John Cena, which is crazy where we've come to now. An exclusive Mattel action figure featuring John Cena with his Seen Enough t-shirt. A Fanatics limited edition commemorative plaque. That's the one I was just talking about, with his 16th title win at the Royal Rumble 2017, as well as a hand-signed signature. A limited edition supercard game, Seen Enough card that features John Cena, Batista, Rob Van Dam. Only 30,000 copies of this were available. It looks like there's some John Cena prints in here, some Kurt Angle prints that come with it. Now, the digital, or not digital, I guess at the time, the deluxe version comes with the season pass, playable versions of Batista, RVD, 2 John Cenas, 2 Kurt Angles, his one night stand appearance and his WrestleMania 26. And Kurt Angle, you get the Olympic gold medalist, like the original debut Kurt Angle, and back when he was like world heavyweight champion. So,
man,
pretty
a lot
cool,
of stuff.
Right? There's a chance I do still have this John Cena plaque somewhere, but I could go in my eBay search history and see if I sold it, but by now it's probably gone. So, but all right, let's sit back for a minute. Let's go over these ratings and reviews. Some R&R. Metacritic gives the PC version a 64. Ooh. PS4 is 66, the Nintendo Switch a 35, and the Xbox One is 67. Wait, the Nintendo Switch a 35 out of 100?
Wow.
That is not good.
Wow.
That is not good. Destructoid, 5 out of 10. Game Informer, 6 out of 10. GameSpot, 5 out of 10. Game Radar Plus, a 4 out of 5 stars. IGN, a 7 out of 10. And the Switch, a 3.8 out of 10. Oh, IGN with a weird rating. Go figure. Nintendo Life with the 3 out of 10 stars. And Nintendo World with a 3 out of 10. Now, even Nintendo is giving their own game a bad rating, which is okay. You know, it's a little odd.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting ratings here. A little all over the place
This
here.
could also have something to do with why I didn't buy the game. It was just bad. Maybe I knew someone that said, yeah, don't bother.
It's possible. Maybe you knew someone that got it and was just like, hey, either it feels the same. I know that I had friends that would skip every year or skip every other year or only buy it like once every, 2 or 3 years. Just because they were like, it's the same thing. You're just getting updated rosters. And like, there's not really, they would wait to see if there were like massive changes to the game. So it's very possible that you had spoke to someone who maybe had already got it. And you were just like, I'll just wait. I'll get, 19 or I'll wait and see what happens. And
hindsight again, maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed 2K19 as much if
possible.
I did get this. So.
It is very, very possible.
All right, tutorial's done. Let's try the supercard code again.
Okay.
It takes me to the App Store, which is kind of annoying because I own the app, bro. No, don't scan Seth's face. Let's get the QR code. It just takes you to the app page, so I'm thinking it's dead. But hey, I'll keep trying and I'll report back.
Is there an actual code? Maybe there's like a promo code to
not.
Like type in and redeem?
No, it says scan now to receive 1 Ultimate Seth Rollins, 3 Elite Superstar cards, and 1 limited edition 2K18 card back. I have to imagine it's expired at this moment in time, many years later.
Yeah, it's only been a little bit. All right, John, we've heard the ratings and reviews from the websites and magazines. Are you ready to get into our reviews? Because it is now time to rate the game.
The game!
All right, Johnny Clash, WWE 2K18. Will you play it forever? Or future endeavor?
Let me tell you something, George. I bought this game on eBay 2 weeks ago. It's going to go back on eBay tomorrow. This is a big old future endeavor.
Wow. All right.
I have no nostalgia goggles here for this game like I do 2K19, which still sits to my right. Could play it forever. Legit play it forever. Yeah, I don't need it. It seems like there's nothing I would go back and play. Nothing holding me in. I would play 19 for this roster. It's not that different. And yeah, just a future endeavor. Just a future endeavor.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm right there with you. Yeah, I will say it is the loot crate system is not something that stands out to me about this game anymore, because I think I've come around to the idea that it does kind of help to tie in that story. I don't necessarily have that strong feelings about it as I did when it first came out. But yeah, I'm right there with you. There's nothing really that sets the game apart from previous years, the years to come after it. 2K19 also, I think, is a really good game. So yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think this is going to be a double future endeavor from both of us here.
Double fee.
All right. Well, guys, let us know what you think about WWE 2K18 on social media, or leave a comment at Game Marks Pod. But with that, John, are you ready to get into the soft lock question?
Let's do it.
All right, the soft lock is a segment on the podcast where one of our mega marks in our Discord gives us a question to answer, a topic to debate. It is a question of the week with a fancy name. And this episode, the question comes from Jeff. And Jeff's question is,
We love Jeff.
Nintendo just announced pre-orders start this month for the Switch 2 with a delivery date of June. They're also hyping midnight drops at Best Buy for people with pre-orders. In 2025, are midnight drops still exciting, or has that faded away like Black Friday shopping?
I'm so happy Black Friday shopping faded.
I
That's
don't know,
crazy.
has it faded, or has it
It's,
just evolved?
It evolved in a good way. It's not we're at midnight on Thanksgiving worrying about buying a TV from Walmart.
Yeah, it's just changed in a way that everything has gone more digital, which then by doing that allows you to, focus on not leaving holidays early, which,
You know what? Shout out to TVs. Everything else has gone up. TVs have just been like, you know what? we're gonna stay in our threshold.
of all of the shout outs that we have ever had on this
Shout out
podcast,
TVs.
shout out to TVs might be a new one. That
Prices
is a
have
new one
never
for
gone
sure.
up for TVs.
That is a wild shout out.
You're the real ones, televisions. But okay, this is my thought. It's cool. I think it's going to be for people like our age who used to do the midnight releases, and they want to, feel that rush once again, camp out, get the Switch 2. First person comes out like, I got it. Everybody cheers. Or it's going to be for people who heard about them, maybe the younger crowd, and are like, I want to experience this, but it's literally going to be them walking up to a Best Buy counter, getting their Switch, and walking out. Because GameStop was always the place to be, not Best Buy.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think it might still hold up for console releases, if that makes sense. Like,
That's fair.
I don't necessarily know, because you had said that in the past you had done one for Halo, Call of Duty,
Call of Duty, Gears of War,
Gears,
Madden. Yeah, they were good.
I think it still holds up for console releases. I think there's like you said, there's a generation that grew up doing them, and now that generation has kids, so they may want to be like, look at like what I used to do, like when I was your
I feel
age,
old.
and now, yeah, you get to do when I was your age, we used to have to wait outside to get the video game. But you get to have that experience and share that experience of how our generation used to do that. But then on the flip side, like you said, there's also probably a generation or part of that generation that just heard about all of that. So they may be like, yeah, I do kind of want to experience that. I'm old enough to experience that and do that. Yeah, I think a case could be made that there is still a place for it, but I don't think it's as big as it used to be, if that makes sense.
I agree. Should be fun. How are you feeling about the Switch 2? You thinking picking it up?
I mean, I love the original Switch. I thought it was a really interesting and unique console, and kind of excited to see what they're able to do with the Switch 2, but not going to be a pre-order or a day one buy or anything like that from me. What about you?
You know me. This podcast has documented it very well. I've gone back and forth on the Switch many times. Hey, I went back and forth on this PC many times. Now look at me sitting here with upgraded RAM. Thanks, Pink. I don't have use for a Nintendo console. I don't think I'm going to buy a console again until my daughter's able to play one, which is going to be a few years.
Okay.
And maybe then I'll get her even like an OLED original Switch, not the Switch 2. But we'll see. We'll see what she likes. I mean, she sits here playing Bluey on my Xbox, but she just moves him into the wall a bunch of times until I take over and play Keepy Uppy. But yeah, I don't see myself playing a Switch. I'd rather a Steam Deck.
Okay. I would say maybe that's the next step for you. Maybe you look into getting yourself your own Steam Deck.
We got time for that. I don't need it yet.
All right. Well, guys, let us know on social media or in the comment what you think about midnight releases and if they still have a place in 2025 and beyond. And yeah, with that, John, would you like to let the people know what we are playing next episode?
All right, we played SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 last week, and I think we're closing the SmackDown vs. Raw series here.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is the last one. We're playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2011.
Man, oh, man.
That's fun.
Closing out the whole SmackDown vs. Raw series with that one. Damn.
I can't wait. The last of the Justin Leapers we have to play.
Well, guys, with that, we want to remind you that all of our video content is available over at youtube.com/GameMarksPod. You can check out our exclusive store over at podexchange.shop. And of course, our store, prowrestlingtees.com/GameMarksPod, at GameMarksPod on all forms of social media. And please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and you haven't actually rung the bell in so long that it actually threw me off. Oh, man. And there is nothing else left to do but for Johnny Clash to do that thing.
Game over. Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no game shard. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.